Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of G&A Podcast. I am the Pokemon furry dojin that you probably shouldn't read, but yet you still click on it. Doo.
And I am the young adventurer ready to go slay some goblins, Soberoni.
And today we start anew with the new lineup for the most part. Um,
Couple of hangovers from last season, but
couple, just the one.
well, yeah, I guess Attack on Titan is continuing. So yes, just one hangover from last season then.
Yes. So that being said, let's get right to that goblin slaying with Goblin Slayer, episode 1.
Yep. So this episode was not family friendly.
I mean, we knew this series wasn't going to be family friendly.
It's
I think from the preview, yeah.
it's clear it's not. But I think like I've seen a lot of people. We'll get into that. But for now, my opinions on this episode, I loved it. In fact, it's going to share episode of the week along with something else for me. But I think this is as good as an opening episode as you can possibly have. Like, it hit every note for me. It was like, I was interested in this episode, and it got me interested in the cast. It got me interested in seeing what the future is. I'm hyped. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked it for, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to do a genre, if you're going to stick to a certain thing, you need to just be all in it. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to be saturated in what you're going to be
Right,
about.
yeah,
If
you
you're
can't
gonna
be
about,
afraid
like,
of it. You gotta stick to it.
if you're gonna be all about gore and violence and fucked upness, then be about that. And yeah, Goblin Slayer did just that. Lots of people getting stabbed, horribly murdered, raped.
Yeah, this was a rapey week in anime. We'll get on that later. But
Oh, Lord. Oh. But it was just like it was so hard watching the group like talking about how they're gonna go and fight the goblins, and they're just like, nope, we made no preparations,
that was
no
hilarious.
potions,
It was
nothing,
hilarious.
everything that we could possibly not do. Like, literally, if you played an RPG game, you know this is not what you should do. Just a game, let alone real life. If it was real life, I'd be like, oh no, bitch, could not be me.
Yeah, no, I don't even go to the supermarket without potions. The fuck are you talking about?
Exactly, right? Like, if we live in a world where
Yeah, I'd be like, we're going to the market. Wait, I got to bring my broadsword and a few potions. We don't know what the fuck is gonna happen out there.
exactly. Let alone a fucking goblin's cave.
The thing is, so for this episode, first off, if you're someone who gets queasy from violence, or you're very sensitive to things like rape, don't watch the show, because this show is very, very visceral. It almost feels like an early 90s, late 80s, like like those type of anime where it's super dark and gritty, like Berserk, and it's just like it really goes into like that scene where the girl gets stabbed in the stomach. That hurt me. That was like, you just hear her screaming and you see the knife go through her stomach and her eyes bugging out. It's very, very intense.
Yeah, like the rape scene, like specifically when the goblin drags his claws into her and you see the blood coming out.
Yeah, it's very, very visceral. Even like the scene where the guy gets killed and all the goblins just beat the shit out of him.
I'm sorry, that was just funny. I couldn't even think that. I just laughed. I just laughed.
But that brings me to the point where I've seen a lot of people criticizing this episode, where it's like, oh, this is just edgy. It's an edge fest. They just want to be dark and edgy. All right, so let me tell you the difference between Goblin Slayer and something like King's Game, which is edge trying to be edgy.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I want to get this off my chest. Goblin Slayer actually had a purpose to its violence. Like, the difference between being edgy in a negative connotation and being edgy in a good way is if your violence isn't gratuitous, like if it serves a purpose. And this episode, all the violence in it, as much as there was, it served some kind of purpose. Like, for example, the first party of adventurers, the whole point of that whole scene and why they had to die was to show how stupid and unprepared these novice adventurers were, to contrast them with someone like Goblin Slayer, who literally retraced everyone's steps and just did everything 20 times more intelligently than the adventurers did. So now you get a sense, oh yeah, Goblin Slayer knows what the fuck he's doing. He's been through this a lot. He's not some idiot with a sword that's too long to fit in the cave. So, yeah, it was a purpose to showing why these guys got killed the way they did. It also showed that the goblins aren't pushovers, that they're very threatening and they will kill you given the chance. So yeah, there was a purpose to the violence. It wasn't just like, I'm on fire now, it doesn't hurt, I'm gonna drown myself, bye, by the way, my dad raped me. Like, no.
I knew you were gonna refer to that one scene because that was the epitome of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Like it wasn't pointless. Had meaning. Them dying. Like I don't know. I feel like, and I will go as far as say, I feel like it could have been worse. Like it could have been a song. Like the Zombie game was still like in certain parts was way more grittier than like it was way more gross and gory than this. As gross as this episode was, like yes, especially them getting stabbed, and yes, like, but it's not like you see the actual rape of the girl. Like they did most of the rape scene off scene. Like you just see her face. Like you see the implication that she's getting raped. And you see the implication that the other dude's getting stabbed horribly to death. But like
it could have been like it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, you're right. But it was bad enough where you still got the point. Like it was still impactful. It was the perfect level of violence. It was gruesome enough to where it's like ooh, but not too gruesome to the part where it's like cartoony and stupid or anything like that.
Exactly. It wasn't like this is like Elfen Lied. No offense, Elfen Lied. Elfen Lied's still a great anime, but you know exactly what I like.
Oh yes, that's perfect. That's a perfect example. Compare this first episode to the first episode of Elfen Lied, and tell me which one is the gratuitous, pointless violence.
Exactly. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm starting to the girl getting her head... Spoilers for Elfen Lied episode 1. The girl gets her head twisted off and like her heart pushed out of her chest.
That one always stayed with me because I'm just like, that was so...
That was so unnecessary. She just literally walks on screen like, hey, what's going on? So yes, that is the point I was trying to make. Also, I like the main girl. I'm assuming she's the main girl. I don't know. For all I know, she's going to get raped and killed in episode 2. But I liked her. She was annoying at first, but I kind of get where she's coming from. She's more realistic. Like I get because she's in that scenario, she's going to be like, you know, she's innocent. So she's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. But it fits. Yeah. It fits her, you know, design. It fits the need in the scenario. And she was able to do a couple of things. So she was useful.
Yeah. Exactly. She wasn't completely like, oh my god, I can't do anything by myself.
She wasn't pointless.
Exactly. She wasn't there just to be like, I'm the focal point-ish, or like off focal point. Like, I'm the main character, but not really the main character.
She wasn't like Sakura.
Excuse me. Wait, which Sakura?
Naruto Sakura.
Who?
Exactly. So yes, I think that was a great episode. Anything else you want to say about it? Or shall we move on?
No, we can move on.
Alright, then move on we shall. To another new show, to Aru Majitsu no Index, Season 3, Episode 1.
This was my episode of the week, actually.
What?
It was, literally just because of the ending. Because I was like... Well, no, not just because of the ending. The ending is what put it over the top. I was like, okay, now this became my episode of the week. Because, first of all, I still don't know what's going on.
Me either.
They're still kind of referencing what happened last time, and I didn't watch the last episode, so I'm like, I don't know what's happening. It's very much like Fairy Tail.
Where it was so long ago for us that we don't really remember.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. So yeah, but it still has the same feel that I remember when watching Aru.
Oh yeah, it definitely kept that same. It does feel like kind of unique in the way its setting is.
Yes, and the way they the way they paced the episode, they
Mm-hmm.
have very unique pacing. Like 1 second, everything's so great, this whatever, and everything's a
Yeah.
joke, and we're all school of life, like slice of life, and then all of a sudden, like everything happens, and old ladies are getting shot in the
I
dark.
I know I'm not the only one, but I was like, oh my god, is Toma gonna punch this old woman in the face?
His armor is
That would have been oh my if that would have happened, this would have been my episode of the week. If he had punched her in the face.
Nope, instead she gets shot by his school friend.
Yeah. This whole episode just makes me want to rewatch what the fuck happened in season 2 because I vaguely remember it, but this is such a detail-oriented show that I'm like, oh man, I definitely need to recap. This is something I would need to recap episode 4.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, but yeah, it was very like I don't know, it just kept the feel of it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like even from season 1, because you know how I watched High School DxD the latest season, and then the first one, I'm like, oh my god,
Oh
literally
yeah, it's super different.
everything has changed.
Mm-hmm.
But this, nope, very consistent. The art's consistent. The characters are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scene, it's like this, like the little scenes that they don't need to add, but they add to the show, is what makes it like, at least this first episode, so good. Like the whole fact that like the woman who's on the old lady who's on the board of directors,
Mm-hmm.
like that scarf tied in with like one of Toma's teachers who was knitting the scarf for like knitting stuff for her.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
Yes, you didn't know they're related.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, see that I didn't notice that. Dope, mind blown.
exactly. Like that detail is so like unnecessary, but it's in there and it's so amazing because now you're like, holy shit! Like
Mm-hmm.
his homeroom teacher, whatever, her mom's dead. Like, and
Yeah.
and the murderer is one of her students. Like,
Drums. I like yeah, you're right. The world building is so good. Like the way all the characters are interconnected is really cool. Like yeah, like I'm remembering bits and pieces where it's like one character is connected to like this web of other characters and yeah,
and
it's very
yeah, like I said, pacing. It literally just went from slice of life to I have a gun pointed at you.
Mhm.
Here's the actual main plot of the whole story. Because for most part, it was just like, this is just a random like whatever episode. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like it's still entertaining. I'm still getting my value from it and whatnot.
Mhm.
But then Noli comes out with the gun. Let's talk about the real plot.
Yeah.
Oh god, the Sumichikado shoots her. And then it's like, oh yeah, well, they were gonna kill me anyways, so I just needed him to kill me first. And then he's like, bitch, we're going to France. And that's it. And that's where episode 2 is gonna start. And like, it was so like seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't seem so stupid. Like, I feel like
You're right. Any other show would have been like just random and stupid.
Yeah, like the way the people who did to Aru did this scene compared to how the way people who did Osama game would do this scene would be day and night.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's why it's my episode of the week, because it's like a bunch, like the end is like a bunch of random shit happening, but it all just connects so well in a very, once again, a very lock, shock, and two smoking barrels sort of way, almost.
That's true. I also like the way that it feels like the world exists outside of just Toma and Index. Like stuff is happening in the world and then it affects them. It doesn't feel like the story is just about Toma. It feels like this is just a story from Toma's perspective. And I guess it helps because it does, like, you have the Railgun series spin-off and all of that. Like, there's more to this world than just Toma and Index. It's just that this is their version of events. So,
Yeah,
I like that
pretty
feel.
much. Yeah, so
Really good world building there.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Oh god,
So
I
overall-
literally said shenanigans. I really wrote down some point shenanigans happen, and I don't remember what that is. Oh, I think it's just like they still have like that somewhat ecchi scenes.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of random ecchi scenes, like the girl throwing the baseball and like lifting up her skirt.
Yep, and then the teacher spilling coffee on herself.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have
I
those
feel
random
bad for
ecchi
her.
moments.
Like she spilled coffee on herself and her mom's dead.
What a shitty day. What a bad day.
That's a really bad day for her. Jesus Christ. Ugh. What happens to her next? So like the house just falls on her. She gets fired.
Speaking of having a bad day, let's move on to our next show. Zombieland episode 1. Which, by the way, we know we put up a poll super late. My bad, but we put up a poll asking which show we wanted to cover between this, Beelzebub, and the Maid Show, and poll's still going on. But I mean, I think this last time I checked, this was winning by like 1 billion votes. So.
Wait, actually, don't go vote because by the time this video is done, it'll probably be over.
Yeah,
but I take that back.
I think it's fair to say this is gonna win.
It probably is going to win. And if it doesn't win, like if the Maid one wins or the Beelzebub wins, then well, I don't know. We'll just do 2-episode recap of either one and just keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
But till then, so that was Zombieland Saga. Best opening or best opening?
That is the best opening of any anime I've ever seen. It just came so far out of left field and was so amazing. Because I was expecting some stupid thing to happen. I was like expecting her to open the door and there'd be zombies everywhere.
Yeah, me
or something
too.
like that.
No, she just gets hit by a car.
But the comedic timing on just the car hitting her, and then the slow-mo and all the different angles, and then the fucking metal music starts playing. Oh my god, it was a thing of beauty.
It was kind of perfect.
By the way, this is my other episode of the week.
Yeah, I figured as much. Shout out to Psy Games. I forgot that Psy Games is part of this.
Of course, Psy Games will be a part of this. I can't wait for this. Can't wait for this tie-in. Well, there's already a Shadowverse tie-in.
They're doing a promotion event. So anyone playing Shadowverse, log in to get those free packs.
Outside of that, though, I think that this episode was very, very funny. It was a very hilarious episode all around. It was a very unique type of humor.
I know, like it was. At first, I was very like wasn't sure how to feel about it as I was watching it. Because it's like she's just like, what's going on? And then, you know, I don't know. Maybe because I was so confused, I didn't have time to like find it funny. So I was just confused half the time.
I'm still confused half the time. But they don't. I like how they play on that though, where it's like, why are we zombies? Don't even worry about it. You're zombies.
Oh yeah, he's just like, who cares? You're zombies, and we're gonna be an idol group to save this city from something.
Yeah, I feel like it's never gonna explain what the hell's going on, and that's gonna be like a running gag in this.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be funny. Someone compared this to Korewa Zombie desu ka? Like,
yeah, it feels a lot like Korewa Zombie.
Yeah. Like, I started getting on board with it, like, accepting it for what it was when they did the rock concert. And I was like, oh my god, these girls are so hardcore, they're biting me and everything.
I love their head banging and they're just like breaking their necks over and over again.
Who got like breaking their necks?
Of course, I think the star of the show is the producer, obviously voiced by Hoen Kyoma, literally just taking his Hoen Kyoma voice and transitioning it to this character.
So I thought his voice sounded super fucking
it's the same dude. He's just using his Hoen Kyoma voice, which makes it that much better because I'm just like, oh, this is the sequel, just times K0.
Basically, wow, easiest paycheck he has ever made in his life.
I feel like they literally just told him that while he was. Why don't you read the script like you would if you were doing Steins Gate?
Yeah, specifically the Hoen Kyoma guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, but yeah, no, I feel like now that I know what's happening more or less, it's gonna be like way funnier.
I don't know how I feel about all the girls waking up at the end at the same time or whatever, because I wanted it to kind of be like So you wake up one at a time, yeah, and each episode would be dedicated to a different girl or whatever. But I don't know.
Wait, didn't one girl? Didn't she still like in?
Yeah, the unremarkable one that has no legend behind her, Tamada Yamada.
Yeah.
She's still a zombie. I feel like she's just gonna be a zombie forever because she doesn't have any kind of legend.
That'd be amazing.
Like her legend is just that she's gonna be a zombie.
Legendary zombie.
But yeah, this was a very hilarious first episode. I look forward to seeing what they do because there's so much potential with what they could do. I have no idea what direction this is gonna go.
Yeah, me neither. Very excited for it.
All right. You got your speech card ready for the next show?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to cover Dakaretai, which I'm just gonna be calling it that for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
One. Okay. So, as someone who hasn't seen Shonen Ai in a while. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes like they do the whole like format where like, the bottom is very loud and sometimes obnoxious or whatever, and then the top is usually kind of like cool or super friendly or super cold or super. Either way, they just have very like dominating aura about them.
Mm-hmm.
And usually something happens. They like in the first episode they usually kiss or like someone makes their feelings known about the other person in some way, shape, or form, yada yada yada. Romance comes, the top gets a little bit forceful, but then like the bottom kind of gives in, and he's like, no, you shouldn't, but like this feels so good, so whatever. And that's pretty much how it happens. My problem with this episode was that is not what happened. It was kind of really rapey.
Yeah.
And before I continue on to that, I'm gonna have a message in general for mangakas and people who make anime, people who make shonen. I think most shonen are adapted from like the mangas themselves. And this is a shout out to the mangakas because I know a majority of them, if not all of them, are girls, and it's made in my mind, it's made for girls. I'm gonna say this very clearly. Stop putting rape in Shonen Ai. Please do not make kind of rape like a subliminal like thing in Shonen Ai. You do not need rape to be a consistent fact. Oh, you see, look at I'm not sure you can hear the ambulance or not. They come to get me because I'm about to have a fucking heart attack.
Just let me know when I can step in.
I'm just saying, it's just not necessary. You don't need, and usually I'm okay with it in most cases because it's like, oh, it's kind of rapey, but it's like whatever. But this is kind of just rape. Period. It was no.
Very next level. If anything, this was more unsettling than anything that happened in Goblin Slayer, because Goblin Slayer is like whatever, a bunch of goblins raped this chick. It's fantasy. This was eerily realistic in terms of its portrayal of sexual assault.
He just was like, I have evidence of you. Have sex with me, or I'm gonna leak it. And I'm just like, bruh, that's right. Like,
yeah,
because usually it's like, oh, I'm forcing myself on you, but I like this guy, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was not even built up to be like in any way endearing or anything. It was just like, I have blackmail. It was like within the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's like, I really like you, and I have blackmail.
I got you drunk, and I have this blackmail, so we need to have sex.
And I'm in love with you, so I'm going to show my love for you by blackmailing you into having sex with me.
Also, the part where he runs into the bathroom, and then the guy just like breaks the door.
Yeah, he's
Jesus.
like, it's raping time. Like, Jesus, no, stop this.
Or like the kidnapping at the end of the episode. Like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
or
just
he's
taking
really
him back to my place now.
I'm just gonna take you away, and yeah, he's gonna stay at my house, and let's have sex. Like, the fuck? You can't. No, I don't. On a moral level, I don't agree with this. I actually don't agree with this. Like, and now I feel like it's gonna go into this, like, some weird fucked up Stockholm syndrome. Like, literally, he's literally gonna fall in love with this rapist. Like, I really fucking, I don't know. That really fucks me up in my head. Like, Jesus Christ.
Not the best way to introduce your romance. Definitely.
It really isn't.
Probably
like,
the worst way.
Listen, fucking Sakura Hashigo, bitch, get it together. Get it the fuck together, because this manga was not okay. Like, this was just not okay for me to watch. I was like I thought like the worst of it was gonna be Super Lovers. I thought Super Lovers was going to be the worst of it. It's like a 24-year-old in love with a 14-year-old. I thought it's not gonna get any worse than that. But yet here we are.
And all I have to say is, the one positive I had about this episode is that I was feeling a little guilty about the Senran Kagura pick, because I was like, man, Drew's not gonna like it. It's too exploitative and ecchi and over the top. And then I saw this episode, I'm like, well, it can't be worse than that. No one's gonna rape the other person, and I hope not, at least. There's no rape in Senran Kagura.
God, ugh. Like, ugh.
So,
like, I feel like it's one thing, because I feel like in a lot of your anime where, like, the girl forces himself on the guy, which is still rape, by the way, but, like, it never really happens. They don't actually end up going through.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing about this episode. They actually just had sex.
Yeah, they actually had sex in the first episode. Like that also does not happen. Like, a lot of first things that don't happen that I'm not exactly a fan of. I guess at least at the very least, let me get one positive out of the way. I did like when they actually had conversations about, like, acting. Like, whoa, they're actually talking about acting, and they're actually going through, like, acting out a scene. It's not just like, oh, we're gonna skip all of them trying to act and shit, and go back to
that was cool. I actually like the setting. Like, I like that they are both actors, and their passions for each other is gonna show through through their acting and stuff. Like, that's a cool setup.
That's cool. That is cool. I appreciate that. That's another thing I always appreciate about Shonen Eyes, is the fact that it's almost never, like, a high school thing. Like, they're almost always adults. But yeah, it was oof.
So other than the rapey parts, I don't know, my impression is just generally, just, like, putting that stuff aside, I just didn't feel as much of a romance in terms of, like,
there was not much of a romance.
The characters, it was too rushed.
Because you can't say, putting the rape stuff aside, not much romance. You can't do that.
But I'm like, first off, what's his name? The main character, the ass. First, I don't like him. He's a dick. He's a huge dick. He's not even, like, an endearing dick. Like, like, I get what you say where there's, like, a shonen and sometimes the guy's, like, cold and stuff. Like, that's one thing. This dude, Saito, is just an asshole. So
I know. I kind of like him. He's funny.
I don't. He's an asshole.
He's just such, like, a flawless, like, what you think a douchebag actor is. Like,
yeah, he's pretty much just the stereotypical douchebag actor. But it's, first off, he cares about the most obscure thing. It's not even like he cares about what award, like, how many whatever Oscars he's won or whatever.
Oh, I'm not the most huggable.
I'm the most huggable, goddammit. It's not even like he cares about how much he's getting paid or anything. He just wants to be the most huggable.
Well, when you become a famous actor or a rich actor, like, at that point, you just want to get more accolades at that point.
But that's a weird accolade to, like...
Yeah, that is a weird one, I will say.
That part was whatever, but yeah, I don't feel anything from either of them. Like, I'm not particularly interested in either of their characters. I did think it was kind of, I don't know how I feel about it, but it was kind of strange that there was no build up to the sex. It was just like,
no, it wasn't. You're
sex.
right. I also find it incredibly strange. Like they would at least give 2 episodes. Like
Mhm.
fuck.
Like, was Saito just openly gay in the beginning? Like, they didn't even address that, or usually, even if it is like a shonen ai, the main character is kind of like,
No, in 9 out of 10 cases they are not openly out. Actually, 10 out of 10. I can't think. Like the only time I can think of like an openly gay character where it's like he's not a joke character in a shonen ai would be like that one guy from Antique Bakery
mm.
with the glasses, the actual baker. Like that's the only guy I can think of who's like openly gay.
But yeah, so I just found it strange that it went from him hating this dude's guts to them sleeping together by the end of the episode and having like this forced as hell kind of like, feel happy for them. It's cute, isn't it? And I'm just like, no, this is not.
Creepy. Fuck, no, it's not exactly.
Because now, like, you know, from episode 2 on, they're going to be like paired like the atypical shonen ai pairing where they're going to be clingy with each other and all of that. Like, I feel like that's
yeah,
where this is headed.
they're now maybe are kind of gonna do like the whole slow build dating thing, but I feel like it's gonna be horrible. In my mind, it's horribly blackened by the fact that
I feel like it's working backwards. Yeah, it's like we fucked first and from a very rapey setup, and now we're gonna try to make this work.
Yeah, so not a huge fan of this first. Like, it's arguably one of the worst first episodes like Ocean and I've ever watched, if not the worst. Yikes! A huge yikes.
Cool.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Now I got that disgusting fucking taste out of my mouth.
So just to clarify, it was not your episode of the week.
No, it's the most rapey episode of the week.
Okay, big language for a season. Who would have thought that Goblin Slayer would have lost that title? Next up, we have.
Yeah, I'm like, literally, if you really want to feel disgusted, watch this.
We had the show. I bet Conception. Remember Conception? I bet that's not even gonna be as rapey as this was.
Do I remember watching Conception?
No, we didn't watch it yet, but there's that anime about the guy who's like impregnating all those girls.
I remember the premise of Conception.
Yeah. So cool.
Oh,
next up, Attack on Titan, season 3, episode 11.
Hey, Lexo,
what's up?
I didn't hate this episode.
I actually really liked this episode.
Yeah,
because
like, it was a very interesting perspective from someone we wouldn't even be thinking.
I forgot he existed until this episode, and by the end of the episode, I was like, "Oh, I feel bad for him."
I'm like, "Oh my god." Keith, yeah, that's his name. Keith and Aaron should literally have a drink together and talk about how unimpactful they both are in general, in terms of their personalities and just everything.
Yeah, this episode had it was I don't know. I liked it because I'm a sucker for episodes that like do character development for characters that I usually don't care about, like side characters like that. So I love that. I love that we got to see more of Aaron's mom's backstory. Because I'm like,
oh my god, I love that.
Like seeing where she worked at and how she, developed and all of that, and why, like that whole scene with Aaron where she was like holding on to baby Aaron and talking about how she loves him.
Keith was being the biggest
dick.
Bitch, like, oh my god, like,
I'm not some fucking waitress who pours drinks and flirts
everyone like some goddamn whore.
I was like, is she gonna slap him? I'm like, oh, she can't, because she would drop Aaron on the floor.
Like, someone, can you hold the baby real quick and just
slap him like, with Aaron?
But no, at the end, oh god, it was so great because it's like, she's like, what's wrong with being, what's wrong with being normal or not special? Like, look at this. Like, look at my baby. Like, look how fucking adorable he is. She's like, listen, I got married. I got apparently decent enough dick that I had a baby. Married to a doctor, by the way. So, Like, my life is
Yo, she did well for herself. She went from waitress to married to a doctor. What have you done lately?
She's like, I'm still cute. My baby's still cute. We are all still cuter than you. All you did was just get a bunch of people killed. I'm here living my best life with my baby. That's why you look all tired and shit. I look great. And I'm like, yes, Carla, drag him, read him for filth, which isn't what happened, but it happened in my head like that.
Yes, that was great. I like the little transitions they did, like from him looking at himself not getting a promotion, and they were congratulating the other guy, and then it transitioned to him seeing Aaron's father and Carla getting married, and everyone saying congratulations. Like, it just punctuated how shitty he must have felt. Like, everything was just not going his way.
Like, and at some point, I was gonna say that I was about to write down that Dr. like Jaeger like took Carla from him essentially, like because he had things with her, and I was like, no, Carla, and I rewrote it. Carla chose Dr. Jaeger because he kind of just stood there looking all weird and wanted to like be the scouts and shit.
Yeah. It also explains a lot about why Carla wasn't a fan of the Scouts.
Yeah.
So,
because there's fucked up people like him in there.
So I think overall it was a very good. Even though nothing, when you think back on it, like nothing really happened in terms of the main plot.
Yeah, but we got a lot of
backstory, world building, good character development. So
yeah,
I liked it.
It was like purposeful world building too. Oh my god! And the scene after Eren tells his dad that Carla dies, and he's like, ooh, that conversation between Keith and Dr. Jaeger was amazing. Yes. Oh my! You want to talk about a real read? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what a read is.
He's special because he's my son.
Like, he's special about my son. There's a difference. Like, no, you're right. You are special, but he is my son, so he is more special than you. So go away.
I also respect Dr. Jaeger a lot more now too. Before he was just like some asshole who like kidnapped his son and made him a Titan. Now he's actually, I don't know. I want to know more about him. He like seems like a really cool character.
Exactly. The fact that he has amnesia. He had amnesia when he was found by Keith.
Oh, he had like his whole like hospital set up, and everyone was like, "You cured the plague," and super happy, and you see him all happy and everything. Like, damn, he's a really cool guy.
Everything.
Thank you. Even he stole my attention away from Keith. I was like, damn, get this Keith guy off screen. I want to learn more.
I know, right? Exactly. Like,
I see why Carla chose this guy.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Oh well. That was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, God, poor Keith. What a small man. And I loved how Hange, because she's so. I feel like Hange's gonna die, but like she's literally having too many great moments. She literally called him out as soon as that story was over. She's like, "Who gives a fuck about your inferiority complex, you bitch? Like, that's why you're here instead of doing what it is. Because you're a fucking child." I'm like, oh my god, Hange. Go fucking get this man. Yo, I feel like poor Keith just got...
Hange is the Daru of this series right now. She's getting like this whole massive amount of character development and being super badass and lovable right now.
Yeah. It's gonna suck when she dies.
Yeah, let's not think about it. So, let's move on to our last episode of the podcast and the last episode of this series, Overlord Season 3, Episode 13.
Bueno.
So, Gazif died, as predicted, quite quickly. A lot quicker than I thought.
I thought Aizen was gonna kind of play around with him. He's gonna unlock the power of that sword and be like, Excalibur! And then Ainz was like, Omae wa mou shinderu.
Yeah.
Except he actually did. That's actually what happened. He just skipped all that part and just went straight to
kind of a shitty thing to do. Time stop. Like, talk about cheating. All right, Ainz, calm down with that shit. time stop.
He was just like, I'm just going to kill you because, there's no point in me trying to fight you. Cause,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. Yeah, so they kills him easily. Iranto gives up the city.
I feel bad for the king. I feel
Yeah,
really bad for the king.
dead, dead
His son is
son.
dead. His army's dead.
His
His
lover
land is
slash
gone.
warrior is dead. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen the queen, so I'm assuming him like they're gay for each other.
Well then, yeah, he lost everything.
Exactly. Um, excuse me. I don't. I don't know how I feel about this last episode, or this being the last episode. It seemed very like, once again, if just like with Hero Academia, it just felt like this is just a setup episode for next season.
Do you think there'll be another season though? Because
It's
I'm
said to
not
be
sure.
back. Excuse me.
It said like Overlord will continue. Did it? I forget what it
It said to
said.
be continued or something like that.
I don't know if it will. I'm curious to see if it will get another season.
I know, because that'd be like 4 seasons, which is
Mm-hmm.
like, that's a lot.
Most anime don't get, and I feel like there wasn't as much passion in this last couple of seasons. So I feel like I don't know. I don't know what a fourth season would look like. But yeah, if this was the last episode of the series, then yeah, it was very very poor showing for Overlord.
Yes. Well, just like with My Hero Academia, it's very much just like, let's set up for the next season.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I get big things happen, like, I don't know. You can't call it a big thing if this is something that he's already done. Like, Ions already has come in and taken people's lands before. Just literally showed up. Like, you've already done this before.
It's not satisfying. It didn't
It isn't.
feel
It's not
satisfying.
because it could be done at any point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I feel like this was just a part of a bigger plan.
It was.
And it just doesn't. It didn't have that payoff. I don't. I hate. Well, I don't hate it because I'm gonna keep continuing to compare it to the first season. But yeah, like nothing really ever since that first season. I don't feel like anything really lived up to that. And the way that this ended, it just feels like it ended on a flat kind of as expected. Ainus takes the city type note. So I don't know. Very, very weak ending.
Yes, I would say so.
Although we did get to see Albedo. So
we did, and she had her screen time with Mamon.
But I guess overall, what do you rate it?
8.
An 8.
Oh God, that means he's in his mind. He's like, Oni's like, I have to go lower.
No, because I'm thinking, I forgot what I gave season 2. Because I remember watching season 2 and being like, I'm going to be fairer to this one because I knew it was setting up for season 3 in the summer. So I remember giving that season probably a higher score than it deserved because I was like, oh, it's just setting up for the next season. But now that this season is kind of like flat on its face, I kind of want to feel like I should revisit season 2, but I'm not going to do that.
So yeah, I'm like, girl, you're doing the most.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I knew it. You sack of shit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's not.
I was like, he's going to give it like either 7.5.
It did some good things. Like I liked the way it did get better as time went on.
I don't know. I like the Goblin Village thing. I liked because I knew.
Yeah, there was a lot. Like there was a lot of hype moments in the second half of the series, of the season. Like the Goblin Village getting attacked. The whatchamacallit, the intruders that broke into the tomb. That whole mini arc. This last arc was actually pretty hype. So it got better towards the middle and end of the season. But still, overall, not that strong of a showing towards the end.
Yeah, like it was just very. as expected, like Sasuga, Ainz-sama. Like literally in every single
Sasuga
word.
Ainz-sama. I'm gonna miss hearing that though.
Ainz-sama.
And for once, we don't end this on Persona 5. It feels so weird. For
Oh,
literally the
thank
past
God.
26 weeks, our podcasts
Well,
have ended on Persona 5. I was literally about to pull up Persona 5 notes or something, and I was like, oh, wait, no. It finished.
whew, it's like a weight has been lifted up my soul.
So, for those of you who aren't aware, we're also going to be covering Golden Kamui Season 2 and Senran Kagura. Both of those shows have not had their first episode air yet, so we'll be covering those next week when they do air. And then we'll have our definitive lineup set, which will be Goblin Slayer, Aru Majitsu no Index Season 3, Zombieland, Dakaretai, Attack on Titan Season 3, Golden Kamui Season 2, and Senran Kagura Season 2. But if you enjoyed this episode of the G&A podcast, please do leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you'd like to go that extra mile, then consider donating on Patreon so you can join these lovely patrons on screen right now that make this show possible. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter and Discord. And Drew, do you have anything you would like to add?
Ladies. Ladies who like BL stuff. Is there any way we can like compromise? Can we make one where it's like two guys just like really like each other? Their love is cute and not in some weird like
Nope.
dominated or being dominated like weird power struggle thing. We could do that. That'd be great. You guys would be so wonderful. You guys can do that. I would love that so much.
Good luck with that request.
I know.
Until next time, this has been Soberoni and
Drooby Doo.
I'll see you guys next time. Later.
Bye.